Welcome to KR Films Entertainment Channel. Movie starts with the body of celebrity Anna Fritz being wheeled into a mortuary. We read in the news about how adored and lovely she was before her death. They discuss how she was discovered dead in a restroom during a party and how her autopsy was scheduled. For the next morning, the orderly places her body next to the others before uncovering her and photographing her face. The picture then moves to the entrance of the hospital, where but his Jabby he and Ivan enter and make nasty remarks about sleeping with some of the Chinese ladies in the lobby. They then run into their friend Pao, who turns out to be who take the picture of Another to invite him to a party, but Pao refuses because he has worked till midnight and cannot go. Ivan inquires as to where they can use drugs and requests that Pao brings them out to the dumpster to do their narcotics. But he tells them not to touch the yellow bin because it contains a lot of human faces. Jabby and Ivan start bringing out cups of drinks and make Pao drinks with them into stoner. He's concerned though and tells the guys to hurry up and leave so he can get back to work. Ivan inquires their pal examined and body, to which Pao responds that he didn't, that he will remain at the morgue till tomorrow. I lead his pals down to examine N's body and advises them that if they are found they must claim they were lost, but Job he is hesitant to enter the morgue. He wants to escape because he is afraid of being caught, but I've been in power persuade him to stay after showing the man his corpse. Power it's the sheet removed from the body. Ivan and Jabby both freak out because it's the body of an elderly lady. How laughs at the men and shows them relentless space. But I've been on covers her chest and grabs her breast. Ivan then instruct Jabby to take her and Job remarks on how chilly she is. Ivan chooses to do another line of coke and Pao and Ivan follows him. Ivan completes the discovery of his body and discusses with Pat what it would be like to sleep with a corpse at that point, and Jabby he is appalled when entails Ivan tells them to go because he's a new breed. How agrees with Ivan's plan and instruct Jabby to wait in the other room until they are finished. Gabby and Pal find themselves watching Ivan sleep with and his corpse. When Ivan is finished, Jobby he flips out over how gross he and Ivan or Pao enters and sleeps with Anna. However, as he is sleeping with her, she awakens and starts crying. How takes note, her eyes are open and she panics out, leaping off the bed and screaming. Ivan and Jabby rush inside the room, followed by Sienna, who was crying and gazing about. Jabby he approaches her, urges her to relax and then proceeds to bring her some water. Jabby and Pooh start to panic. Jabby he leaves to grab something to cover up and his body as Ivan questions Pao about whether or not she saw him and whether or not she knew where they were heading. And Pao confirmed that he does. When the men hear another orderly approaching the morgue, they cover it once more with the she before fleeing to safety. Honor attempts to reach out for the order Lee and wiggle her fingers as the orderly enters the room with another dead body. However, the orderly is wearing headphones and is unaware of her presence. Jabby he tries to pull in aside once the orderly leaves, but Ivan draws him back to the other room to chat. Pao and Ivan are worried about getting into problems for abusing Anna. When Jabby he argues they need to inform someone she's alive, Ivan suggests they just kill her because everyone already believes she's dead. Jabby becomes enraged and declares that he doesn't care what happens to Pao and I, even before slamming out the door and wheeling Annie, and I haven't asked Jabby not to impede his path because he does not want to go to jail. Jabby on the other hand refuses to let the murder in and orders Ivan to open the door and or regains her capacity to fully communicate at this time and begs the men to let her live. Jabby he goes to open the door himself, but the other order has already locked it. Ivan and Jabby engage in a fist fight and Ivan nearly kills Jaffe when Pao pulls him off him. How does a doctor check on Jabby and discover that he is alive but losing a lot of blood? Ivan begs Jammy's forgiveness while Pao covers his head with a sheet instead of seeking his help. They drag Jabby into the other room's corner and left him there barely alive. Ivan then request that powder be dropped in there as well. I've been trying to deceive Jabby. When the cops find him, he says to them, but Jobby he is out of it and not paying attention. Ivan then goes to the mortuary way Pao to clean up, leaving Job he alone with Anna. Jabby he apologizes to enter and promises you'll go seek help. However, it warns him not to move because he would lose too much blood and die. How and Ivan return to the morgue is another orderly enters, so Ivan keeps an acquired while Pao informs the man that the night shift orderly had inadvertently locked him in the men and wires about and his corpse because he wishes to see it, but Pao persuade him to leave without seeing the body. Polly is accompanying him, leaving the other three to their own devices. Ivan checks on Jabby and discovers that he is no longer alive. When he returns, he assumes power and Power begins to scream in fear over all they've done, while Ivan tries to rationalize Job he's killing 5, then chooses to dispose of he remains by placing it in the human trash bin. Then it begs the two guys to let her go and swears not to tell anyone what happened. Ivan then pulls Pao out of the room and warns him to disregard Ona since they'll both be imprisoned if anyone finds out what they did. As the two walk, she is able to regain torso movement and maneuver herself off the gurney. Shush. He takes Jabby's phone and as the two come back inside they notice her and take the phone away from her. However, she informed them that it is too late and that she has already contacted her father. They realize their charade is up and finally begin bringing an upstairs. However, I haven't received a call from his father on his phone and it is revealed that he never truly answered to his first call. When I've been in power realized no one is aware of what they've done, they roll her into the mortuary. Ivan then strikes Zone and threatens to do horrible things to her while she calls him disgusting. Ivan leaves to retrieve a trash can and tells to tie it up. When Pao begins cutting up cause to use as a bandage, it warns him that if he continues to listen to Ivan he will be jailed. She tries to persuade Pyle that he should release her. Pyle on the other hand seems unconcerned and begins tying her up. She then lies to Pao and tells him that I've been actually strangled Jaffe to death while Pao wasn't in the room. How is conflicted but he still believes she is lying, so he closes her mouth. The camera then pans to I've been on his way to grab a bin for the dead. However, he is forced to hide behind trash in order to escape being noticed by some nurses who are on a smoke break. Pal begins cleaning up the blood near Jabby's body, removing the tape from her mouth and attempting to bite through her confinement. She eventually manages to crawl out of the room. She makes it down the corridor and hides before I've been returns and realizes she's gone. Island puts up to look for her and she tries to take the elevator upstairs. Ivan drags her on the floor back to the morgue. How conference I've been about killing Jabby but I haven't, claims on a lie to him and is attempting to pit them against each other. After they returned to the morgue, Ivan decided it's time to murder and instructs Powder to suffocate her with a bed sheet. How does not want to be the one to murder Anna, so Ivan suggests doing it together. He and his friends shove the bed sheet on her lips and nose, suffocating her as she fights to breathe and eventually dies. She becomes herself and they help her back onto the gurney. Ivan and Pao place Japanese body in the yellow trash and Ivan goes outside to roll the bin while Pao cleans up on his body. Ivan eventually returned to bin after dumping Jabby body on the side of the road and we witness Pao cleaning his body before covering her with a sheet and rolling her back in line with the other bodies. How eventually hears and costs while waiting for I've been to return and orders her to play dead. When I haven't returned to the room, Pale informs in that they are finished and should leave. Ivan on the other hand goes to take one final look at Anna and asked Pao if certain he cleaned her up correctly. The two eventually leave, but just as they get into the elevator, Ivan remembers he's forgotten his cot and begins to return to the morgue. How tries to stop Ivan from returning, but I've been charges inside the morgue instead, with Suzetta rising up and donning a medical gown. Ivan accuses Palaver attempting to blame the entire event on him before knocking him to the ground and creeps up behind Ivan and repeatedly stabbed him in the back and neck. Power watches Ivan die in horror before stating that they were ready to leave and that she shouldn't have killed Ivan, and looked at Power before stabbing him in the gut. How collapses to the floor and it continues to stab him. This is how our movie ends. Leave us a comment on how you found this movie. See you in the next video. We hope that you enjoy your time and have a good day. Thanks for watching.